Okay, please, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your
Yes.
screen.
Okay, for those that are joining us, welcome. Welcome to the second day of our mobile app design training. Today, we'll be designing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll be designing these 7 screens. And I'm going to be sending an image of the rest so you can replicate. Okay, so in as much as I'll be sending this to you, I don't expect that you copy it like verbatim. I expect you to make your research and add or subtract where necessary. Alright, so I believe most of us have seen the video that I shared the link to the group. So that video would have shown you around Figma, starting from this the home section into into the canvas like this. Okay, so if you have gone through that, then that is a nice start. And I also want to believe that you downloaded Figma on your system. So today we'll be working on the splash screen, the onboarding screen, the login screen, and the sign up screen. Again, we'll be working on the splash screen, onboarding screen, login and sign up screen. Okay, so when there is a process in design. Design is not just what you like want to make and then you just jump into designing, right? Especially when it comes to mobile app design. Mobile app design is not very beautiful like your normal graphics design, or you're just trying to design something you can post online. Mobile app design is usually very plain, and what makes it stand out is the way it's aligned, the way your text is arranged, and sorry, let me just admit these people that are coming. Okay, so the arrangement of every component that you place in a screen, that's what make mobile app design unique. All right, okay, you check each of these screens like this. You check each of the screens. You are going to see that every of the sections are perfectly aligned. So that is what makes a mobile app design unique. It's not because it's very difficult to create, it's not difficult, it's very easy. It's not because it's let's say it's complex or it requires so much knowledge of design. It does not require so much knowledge of design. It requires so much knowledge of professionalism. Okay, so being able to design is different from being a professional. Hello, please, can you mute your mic? Hello, everyone, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you.
All right,
I can
thank you
hear
very
you.
much. Okay, so being able to design, being able to make fine designs is different from being able to create professional interface. Now, professional interface does not need to be very beautiful, but it needs to be direct, precise, concise, and for people to be able to use it. Okay, so I don't want to spend so much time talking about this. Let's just get to work. This is called a section. This is called a section. And what is the purpose of using a section? Um, the purpose of using a section and where you can get a section, I'm going to tell us before we get started. So in this framing section, if you click on this drop down here, if you click on the drop down, you see the section bar here. So you can also click on Shift S to get it. Once you get it, you can draw a section like this, and then when you get your section, you can, let's say, title it section 1, section 01, and probably in your section 1 you want to fix in your splash and onboarding. So we can title this splash and onboarding. Splash and onboarding. Okay, so let's just make this 96. Alright, so something like this is okay. So we'll be having this our splash screen here. The splash screen is the first screen you see in every mobile app. I think almost all the mobile app has it. The where you see the logo and it will just disappear. That's what is called the splash screen. And then you have the onboarding for people that are just trying to sign up, and create accounts for people that are trying to sign up also. But if you are an existing user and I want to log in, if your details is not saved there. Okay, so having created this section, okay, let me just tell us one unique thing about using sections in your design. You can create a design actually without using sections, but the need of using section is so you'll be able to identify the part of the project that has been finalized, mark out the part of the project that has been finalized, and also to make your project well arranged. I showed you some of my projects during the last time. I think I showed you this spread dots, and if you checked it out well, you see that it is perfectly arranged. Let me just look for this project. Okay, it's perfectly arranged. I'm going to let's wait for this to load up. So that is the first benefit of using a section, to make your work well arranged. And the next section, the next benefit is to be able to identify when you are done. So if you are done with, let's say you are done with the splash and you are done with the onboarding, right? What you just have to do is to click on this section here. Once you click on the section, you can click on this. Can you see it? Mark as ready for dev. If you click on mark as ready for dev, it's going to show something green here. That means it's ready for dev. Can you see it? That means it's ready for development. The developer cannot start working on your design unless you are done with it. So if you are not done with it, the developer cannot start working on it. So if you mark your project as ready for dev, that means you are done with the design for that particular section and you are ready for him to develop it. So did you understand that? Okay, so I don't know how many of us has created designs before, but I want to let you know that if you are not using this, you might actually be wrong, or your project may not look so professional. All right, so let's just step forward. I don't know if this has loaded yet.
Just one command.
And what did I do? You destroyed my jewelry and kept me in the house until all the rules closed up. And you never did it again, did you? No. Did you guys have a rough patch where you didn't speak? It was 6 years. Is that the relationship you want for you and your son? Yes.
This life is all about.
Oh. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you too.
Vivian, mute your mic now.
Did you understand?
Hello, I don't know if it's just me, but I think Mr. Bobby Michael, your mic is muted.
Sorry, I've been talking. Shit. Sorry.
You must have said a lot because it's been muted for several minutes now.
Where did I stop, please?
I don't think you have started mentioning anything about these designs the last I heard.
Where you from?
But I've
Yes,
talked
this
about this
section.
section, right?
Yeah, you have finished the section. Yes, it's just the designs we didn't
Okay.
hear.
So yeah. So what I'm trying to say now is we are going to be working on this design. But before we can start working on the design, we have to note that these designs contains components. And if we do not create components for our designs, they won't look professional. So components makes our work look more arranged. It makes us not to stress ourselves so much. And I'm going to explain how it will make us stress ourselves while we are designing. Okay, so this top bar here is a component. It's already arranged and we can easily pick it from our assets and use it anywhere. These buttons are components already. These input bars are components, and then yeah, these input bars are components. Those are the components that we have in this design. I think these inputs here also, these numbers, they are components also. Okay, so before we get started, we are going to be creating some number of components that we need to get started. I think I've actually done that somewhere around here. Check this out. I have the components for this. This is the top bar. I have the component for this. This is the iPhone navigation icon. I have the components for the sign up and login. I have the inputs component for the inputs and this inputs also. And then lastly I have this mock-up here. Okay, so this mock-up is very easy to make. I can show us how to do this, and I'm also going to show us how we can create components. Firstly, these components can be accessed through the iOS 17 figma design guides. Okay, so Apple actually did a design guide that designers can use to create designs. So this can be gotten from there, but I think I'll be sharing the link to us. But I'm going to show us how we can quickly create button components like this. So if you have been creating your buttons by bringing in your shape first and then bringing in a text on it, you are wrong. If you have been creating your buttons by bringing in your shape and then using your text on it, you are wrong. This is the right way to create a button. Okay, so we are creating a sign up first. Creating a sign up, so it does not have to be bold, it can be medium. And then after this, the next thing that you do is to frame this text, and the shortcut for framing it is Shift A. Shift A. So once you frame this, it's going to look like this. I want to hope that you are all seeing my screen. So it's going to look like this. Now what is the next thing you do? It's already having all the sides equal from the 4 angles. So we have different paddings and they are the same. So we have 10 padding up here, 10 padding here, 10 padding here, and 10 padding here. There are no margins in this design, in this button yet. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is to add a fill to it, and I want the fill to be this particular shade of blue. So I can use my color picker to pick this particular shade of blue. And then the next thing is I need this black here to be a white black. Okay, so I can use my color picker and pick this white here, but I think the white is already a perfect white, so you can just move your picker to the pure white. Now once you get this done, what's the next thing we need to do? We need to expand this, but in as much as we are expanding, we want to make sure that even as we are expanding, is responsive. So if this layout angle, if this is actually big, as you are trying to expand, it's going to disturb, it's not going to be responsive. So you have to make sure that your layout, every of your content that is inside should be aligned to the center. So when you drag this, it's also going to be responsive. And also, if you come to this your framing section, you have to hug content, and then you also hug content from above. Now we want to give this spacing. Let's check the width size. So the width size of this is 336, and then the height is 100. We're also going to make this 100, and then we are going to make this 336. But as you can see, mine is quite bigger. Theirs is slim. Do you know the reason? The reason is because I clicked on this, and this is actually a component for the 2 buttons. If you check out this layer section, you're going to see that there are 2 buttons here. So I'm clicking on the 2 buttons together. So that means what we need is actually 1 button, and it's this first one. So that is why it's a nice practice to click on anything you want to select from this layer section. So click on it from this layer section now, and you look here, the width is still 336, but then the height is 50. I think someone wants to come in. Yeah. Okay, so the width is 336, but then the height is 50. So I'm going to leave the width and then decrease the height to 50 pixels. Okay, just to note, in Figma we use more of pixels as our measuring rod. So there are different measurements stuff, but we use pixels mostly. Okay, so the next thing that we'll do is to create a button for this. But before then, we have to give it a corner radius of 6 pixels, right? So the corner radius of this should be 6 pixels. Now we created the button for this. We want to create a button for this login also. We created a sign up button. We need to create a login button. So I have to duplicate this. So to duplicate, you can hold on Shift and then drag and drop. So for this, we have the content as what? Login. And then what else do we have? Can you see that as I input the login, every of the sides still maintain the same alignment. Okay, so from the layout section or to layout section, we already say that it should align to the center. So we are going to remove the fill from this, and then we are going to give it the login a color blue, this shade of blue in particular, so we don't have to stress ourselves. Now I want to make these two components, so anytime we need them, we don't have to start creating them or copying, we just have to use them. And the purpose of creating a component is so you can easily edit your work. For example, I created these two buttons and I made them components. If I click on this and make this, let's say 30 pixels, can you see that it's affecting the other one? So that is the benefit of using components in your design. So if my developer is actually telling me that the buttons, the edges are, the corner radius are too much, I need you to reduce it to probably 15 pixels, then I can just come to this first one that I created and I'll reduce to 15 pixels. It's going to affect all the buttons in my design. So that is the benefit of using a component in your design. But if I did not actually create this as a component and I'm asked to change all the buttons in a particular project, then you can imagine that I will have to go and start changing the button of every single screen that is in my design. For example, if I'm to change the buttons of all these right, if I'm to change the button and I want to increase the corner radius to 10 pixels, it's actually 6 pixels right now, but if I want to increase it to 10 pixels, I'll have to change it here, change it here, change it here, change it to like how many screens do I have here. So that's a lot of work. So that's why I'm trying to let you know that I'm going to be showing you a more professional way to create or design your apps. So having said this, let me just show you how you can create components. And there is what we call variants also. I'm going to share a video where I talk more about how to create components and their variants, but I'm going to do it here also so you can see it. So if I click on this, make sure it's selected in this frame section. You can even decide to rename it by double clicking on the name to sign in button, right? And then let's rename this as login button. So if I click on this sign in button here and I click on this here, I'll be able to create components. And I see that I'm hovering on it, it's showing create component. So I've clicked on it and then I have my component set as create sign in button. Can you see it from here? If I click on here, I can add a description to it. Maybe I need a description for my developer to see stuff that I did here, or maybe to number the elevation or something. I can use this, but it's not compulsory. And I can also create components from here. I've created components for the login also. Now we have two components now, but I don't want them to be separate components on their own. I come to this assets. As you can see, I already have my login button and sign in button here. So these are the components that I create. So anytime I need them in my design, let's say I bring in a frame here, iPhone 13 mini. So I love working with 375 by 812 frame. Okay, so I assuming I need a button here, I can just drag in my login button and drop here. Okay, so if I need my sign in button, I can drag it and drop here. So this is how components works. Okay, so I was trying to explain that what if I want to make these two one so that I can make them variants. So maybe if anywhere I use this and I want to change to this, I don't have to go back and bring another one in. I can just easily change by clicking a particular button from somewhere around there. So I can select the both by clicking on one and holding on shift, clicking on the other one, and click on this place, say create combine as variants. Once I combine them as variants, it's going to appear like this. And that was what I did here. So as I've combined them as variants, if I want to use them for this now, it's going to work differently. So remember, it's always in this layer section, so you have to come to the assets. When you get to the assets, you're going to see okay, when I actually created them as variants, I didn't rename them. So let's rename them. Let's name them as my buttons. We have my buttons here now. Let's say I need my buttons here. What am I going to do? Come to my buttons and drag them in. Now if you note, it's only one that is here. It's just the sign up button that is here. But what if I need the other one? I can just come here, drop this down and say I need my login button, not this one. And then if I need the sign up button, I can say I need my sign up button. That is how you can create components and variants. Okay, that's just by the way. Let's just get started immediately. Okay, I want to assume that I've told us that all these are components and we'll be using them in our designs. So we'll be using the iPhone 13 mini frame. Then before we start creating anything, before we start working with this, before we create this splash, there's what we call grid auto layout grid in design, right? So we are going to create layout grid for this. I'm going to give you the layout grids that I usually use for most of my app, so you can take note of what I'm about to do now. So if you select your frame, your splash frame, you can decide to name this splash, and then if you select it, you can come to this layout grid and drop and click on the plus sign. Once it's there, you click on layout grid settings, and then from the settings you can come to column, and then in this column you see a count. This count, I want to give it 4 pixels, and then I want to set a gutter of 16 pixels. A gutter is actually the space in between. The space in between this faint red like color. That's what we call a gutter. And then I want to give it a margin of 16. A margin is the spacing outside it, like this. The spacing outside it. Alright, so this is what we have now. So here I'm just going to change this color to this shade of blue, and I'm going to fix in my logo inside. If I click on this, I can click on fill and use the particular shade of blue. Once I get that done, I can come to my components section and pick the logo. Okay, it's not there. Let me just pick this one and use it. So once I drop my logo inside, I can use this to say align horizontal center and align vertical center. So automatically, like this, my splash screen is ready because it has been aligned both horizontally to the center and vertically to the center. Now what is the next thing I need to do? The next thing I need to do is my onboarding screen. Like I said, this is already a component. I'm going to show you where you can get this from. But also, if you want to create this by yourself, a nice way to do it is to come to your resources section here and click on plugin. Once you click on plugin, I always love to use Iconify. Okay, so use Iconify, click on it. If you don't have it, to show you install or run. If you run it, it's going to load up something like this. Now from here you can get any kind of icon you need, like this icons. And the nice thing about Iconify is it gives you SVG icons for free. So we need the battery icon. So you can see that there are different kinds of battery icons there. You can pick any one you like. Let's just go with something like this. I'll bring this in. It's going to appear in my frame here. And then I need the Wi-Fi. I think someone is waiting. I need the Wi-Fi.
So Mr. Bobby, don't worry, I'm attending to the people that are coming.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I need the Wi-Fi. I can pick one of these and import it. And then if I need this network bar, I can say network bar, network, and I'm going to see something like that. Um, it's not showing, it's not giving me something like that. And let's just say, let's search for what do you say? Connection. It's actually giving me something like this. But I don't need something like this. I need something like this actually. Okay, but probably I'm not getting the correct name. But just note that you can get all your icons from here, and then when you get them, you can actually use them in your design. So these are the icons that I got from there, so I can actually use them. But don't worry about this. I'm going to give you a link where you can get this. I'm going to give you where you can get this also. So there is, like I said, there is a design guide from Material Design by Google, and there's also a design guide from Apple. So I'm going to give you the design guide from Apple, and from that you can get this header section and you can get this bottom section. Alright, so there is also this guy. We are about to create this onboarding now. Someone actually asked me how this was done. There is a plugin that we call Artboards, and with that plugin you can use it to fix in your frames into screens like this. I wouldn't want to show us that, so I'll not waste much of our time. The time is already running, but just note that if you come to this plugin section, let's just work on it, and we search for Artboard. Okay, you are going to see Artboard Studio Mockup. So you must run it and probably create an account. I don't know. So if you click on run, we don't want to add this item. Let's just run it. I don't think it's that one. There are a lot of artboards. Let's check out this one. We don't want this. Okay, so there is Artboard Mockup Studio. Let's look for Artboard Mockup Studio. Artboard Mockup. Okay, I think this is it. Artboard Studio Mockup. So with this, but just know that before you can use this, you have to sign up. You can go to your web, sign up to give you a key, and you're actually going to paste the key here. When you paste the key here, you'll be able to continue. Firstly, what you do is you export your screen, the particular screen you want to fix inside the frame. You click on it and click on export from below here. So once you export probably as PNG or JPEG, you can bring it in back, then fix it inside the artboard screen. Well, You can just try out that. If you have an issue with that, you can let me know. But I already have my phone frame here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this splash because I don't want to go and start creating my grid lines again. Okay, so let me just bring in this frame. This is the frame that I'm going to be using. But then before that, I have my header and my bottom section here. So I can leave these two here and then click on the first one and say align top, and then for this align bottom, just like that. Okay, meanwhile you have to make sure that it is aligned horizontally perfectly. Right, so that's that for that. Then for this, let's check how it was done again. So what we'll do is we'll create a shape inside this and fix in this artboard inside. So let's change this color to white. Let's change this color to white and bring this guy. And before bringing this guy, let's create a shape like this, something like this, and the shape should be in color blue. We're actually using this shade of blue. Sorry, we're going to bring in a shape like this. Make sure the shape is inside the splash, and then we're going to give it a color blue. But then we have to make sure that this corner radius is something like 15, I think, or 20. So let's just say, I think it's more than that, let's say 30. So we have to make sure it's up to 30. If you haven't done that, we want to fix in this frame inside this artboard, right? Inside our screen or inside this box. So the nice way to do it is to click on this box and duplicate it. So you can use Ctrl C, Ctrl V, or Ctrl D for duplicate. So once you select the first shape, you can select the artboard and then you right click on it and say use as mask. So it's going to send it inside the first one, and then you can leave the second one. So we can align this to the center and then bring in our header and footer. We bring them upward. So I can bring them upward like this. So you can use Ctrl Shift 4 to remove your grid lines. My header section was not showing me, so let me just bring in this one. See, I can just align to the top, align to the center, and align to the top. So that's it. So I'm done with this. I need to just move this a bit. I'm done with this. This actually can be done by creating. This can be done by creating some set of little boxes like this. So create a little box like this, and then you make sure you increase the corner radius. You can select the particular color, then you duplicate this, and make this one longer. Then give this a color, this particular color. So that is how you can do this. Now this payment section is just a text, and then you can bring in your components as your buttons. So let's just go and bring in buttons as components. So to do that, you can come to assets. Remember, we created my buttons. So we need this align to the center, and then we need to bring this also, but we don't need this one now. What we actually need is the login. So there is what we call auto layout. I'm not going to be telling us about that, but you have to note that it's very important in your design, and we actually use it to make our work more professional. Right, so I'm just going to copy this. It's not going to be a problem for you to use. I'm just going to copy this, and let me just copy this from this. So I can copy this and use this in my design. I think this is already taking so long, but I just want us to understand everything that I'm doing. Okay. So you can input your text. The text shouldn't be a problem for us. So the next thing is, let's see, I think it's the register section. Okay, creating an account. Okay, the exact way I created this, by bringing in a rectangle and giving it a corner radius. That is the way you are going to do this. So this is a frame in color blue, and then this white pop-up is a shape, and then it has a corner radius of 15 pixels. Actually, I did the corner radius for all of them, but there is a way you can create a corner radius for just these two, and these ones are going to remain the same. So it's simple. It's just by clicking on these independent corners and giving each the amount of corner radius you want for them. Alright, so this is, okay, I actually did a component for this my input section, and then I'm just going to bring it in. Remember, I've showed you how you can bring in icons, and I've showed you how you can create components. Those are the most important things in this design. All this shouldn't be a problem. These are icons, and you can bring them up. So I don't think I will have to create all the screens again. I just want to make sure that you have understood everything that I've said, and once you've understood it, creating this design won't be any stressful for you. So based on your questions, I'll be answering them now, and we'll probably talk about some of the things we've not talked about. So are there questions, please?
Yes, please. Yes. How to make this picture, please.
How to do what?
Make that mock-up that you said.
How to make a mock-up, right?
The mock-up for the second frame. That one having the structure.
This mock-up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like I said, you can use artboards. This artboard mockup. This is a plugin. You can actually use this plugin to create it. In this plugin, there are already free mockup, free frames that you can use. But I don't use this. I actually use Photoshop. So I download a Photoshop frame and then I use it. That's what I used to do this. But I'm trying to let you know that you can actually do it here, and it's very easy to use. So install this as a plugin, Artboard Studio Mockup. Install it as a plugin and try it out. If you have any issues, just let me know. Okay, so yeah, I can hear you, Akim, please.
Yeah, and the problem is I joined the class late, so I missed the part that you are explaining about the components. Please, can you just explain it to me?
Don't worry, Akim, you are going to get the recording of this section, but then I'm still going to say something about the component. and I'm also going to share a video where I actually talk about components and variants. Okay, so let me just talk about this a little. We're supposed to design these whole screens in this row, but our time is fast spent, and apart from that, it's already something that we can do since we already know how to create something like this, and we've done the grid lines for this. That means we can also create this. Now, the only thing that is different from this and this other screen is the input bar. This input bar, and what is making it different is this is just a rectangle that you can add um, corner radius to, and then this is an icon. I've showed you where you can get icons from. There are a number of places you can get icon from, but I've showed you a nice one and one I usually use most of the time, which is Iconify. There's also a plugin from Material Design for icons, and the Google Design Guide also have icons. Okay, let me just go back to this. I was trying to let everybody know that to make your work look professional and to not stress yourself, there is a way you can create a particular stuff. Let me use stuff now. You can create a particular stuff that, let's say a button as an example. This is a button. You can create it, and then if you want to change it, let's say you've used it for all your screens. If you want to change it or you want to edit something in it, you want to create it in a way that it will affect others in the screens. For example, if I create buttons like this and I make the corner radius 15 pixels, but the developer is saying, or the team finally agrees on the fact that it's too curved, so we need something like 10 pixels, or we need something like 6 pixels. Immediately I click on create 6 pixels from here, and you see that this one is now 6 pixels and this one also is 6 pixels. Is because I created this as a component and then brought in this. So if I should use any of this for my screens or for my frames, right, if I should change this one, it's going to affect the rest. That is the benefit of using a component in our design. And I also show them how you can create variants, how to create component variants. So this is also the benefit of creating a component variant. Let's say if you come to your assets and you move down to this button that we created. So if I drop this button here, it's already a component, and I don't need this sign up. Instead, I need the login button. So I can just come here and drop this down and use the login button. Can you see it? If I need the sign up button, I can use this. So they are the same, just like as I've created there. And if I want this to be formatted, if I need, let's say I have 50 screens and I want to change the corner radius of all the screens to be, instead of 6, I want to make them 15. If I should change this one, and make it 15, it's going to affect the rest. You can see that this one is already 15 instead of normal 6. Can you see it?
Yes.
So that is the benefit of creating components. Like I said, I'm going to drop a video on how to create components and variants if you actually missed it. So
One
any
more,
other questions?
one more thing, please. For
What do you
example,
say?
now if you want to add an icon inside the component, like the sign up
Yes,
component, you just want to add an icon beside it. That will be beside it. How do
yes.
you do that?
Okay. Let's just bring in an icon from Iconify. Okay, let's just say we need a start icon. So something like this. We need just an arrow. Yeah, something like this is okay. So I've brought in this, and like you said, you want to use it to create a component, or sorry, you want to create a button with it and want to make them components, right? So let's want to start now. Start now. So after writing this start now, you just have to click on Shift A and make this a frame, or you can right click and frame this. So I usually use Shift A, it's still the same thing. So we have this as a frame, and then we have this as a frame. So there is what we call auto layout, and that is what we'll be using. Auto layout helps you to align your work vertically and horizontally. There's a new feature of auto layout that makes you align your work by using wrap. So wrap will make it responsive in case you are designing for mobile and tablets or for PC. Okay, so you can also click on Shift A again to make this an auto layout, and then want the space in between should be 10 pixels. That's the usual standard, but because we've already framed this first before creating this one, we are going to reduce it. But if you don't want to do it, let's just unframe this. When you want to remove auto layout from it, you just ungroup. So as I've selected these two now, this is just a text and this is the icon. I've selected the both. I can say give it an auto layout, so I click on Shift A, and then I can make this the space between 10 pixels like this. Now after creating the boat, I can give it a frame again, add an auto layout by clicking on Shift A like this, and then say I want to send this content to align to the center, and I want them to be hug from the sides, and I want them to hug content from above also. Alright, so once that is set, you can add your background color. We want our background color to be this color, so I can use my color picker to pick it, and I want this black color to be white. So I can add the corner radius of 6 pixels to it, and then I can decide to increase it from here, or I can just come here to say I want it to be 366. 366 is too much, let's say 200, something like this. Now once this is set as my button, right, what I'm going to do is, if I want to create a component with it, I'm just going to click on create components from here, and then I can rename it to start button. Can you see here now that I have my start button? Assuming I want to create a variant for this, and I don't want, assuming I want to create a variant, so what I'll have to do is, before even making this a component, I have to duplicate this and say here I don't need a fill, but I need an outline. And I want the outline to be in this color. Also the content inside to be in this color too. So I have two text now. This is the fill, and then this is the outline, and this one can be skipped. This is start now, this is skip. So this one should probably not have an icon of this. I'm bringing a different icon for that. Okay, so for this I can create a component and say the name should be start now, and then this can say I want the name to be skip button. Now I want them to be variant so that they will not just be on their own. Guys, now we have skip, we have start now, they are different. So if I select the both, I can combine as variants. If I combine as variants, it's going to bring out something like this. Now if I'm working on any frame, for example, if I'm working on any frame in my design like this, and I bring in, okay, let me just rename this to be new button. New buttons here. So if I need a button for this frame, and I'll just pick this, drag it and drop here. So the first um the first component that I created is what will appear. So I can align it and actually use it. But if I need the variant, the other one, I can say I don't need this start now. I want the other one, which is skip. So can you see it now? If I need start now, I can use this. So that's how it works.
Thank you.
So are you okay with that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Alright, you're welcome. So any other question?
Yes, please.
Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Please, I have like two questions. The first one is to give me a brief explanation about that sections that you did earlier on. I don't think I was here when you were
Question on what?
explaining it. Like the way you created this section one, I've been trying to replicate it on my Figma. It's not working. I don't know what I'm doing
Alright,
wrong.
alright,
So I want
alright,
a
no
little.
problem.
And then the second question I have is this designs that you did for this 13 mini, will it work on
Yes.
any other phone as well? Like on any other iPhone?
Will I work on?
Or this is just solely for 13 mini design? Do you have to
No,
create 11 or 12?
no. You are actually going to work on one frame throughout, right? And that is the frame
Okay.
that is to be used to develop. Now, is once it's developed, it can be compatible on any phone screen. But if you want to create an app that can work on a tablet, meaning you have to create that separately. But once it's a mobile device, it can work on all mobile devices, no matter the kind of frame you use. But it's always nice you use an updated kind of frame.
Okay.
Alright, so let me just show you how you can create these sections. From this framing section here, it's actually called the region 2. I think they just updated that. It's supposed to be a frame. Okay, yeah, it's also a frame, but if you hover on this drop down here, it's going to show region. So if you drop this down, you are going to see the section, Shift S. Then once you click on that, you can actually draw your section like this. It's as simple as this.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
Now, okay, yeah, the benefit of using this section is to arrange your work and also to show when your project is ready for development. So if I click on ready for dev, it should be ready for development. Because if a project is not ready for development, the developers will not start working on it yet. So I can just remove the ready status now. So that's any other question? Alright, if there are no questions, we are going to call it a day. Note, I'm going to paste the um I'm going to send I'm going to send the link to the video of components, or how to create components and their variants. And I'm also going to share a link to where you can get these components. Also, I'm going to share a link where you can get the design guide from Google. I'm sorry, from Apple, which is I think the iOS 17 design guide, something like that. I'm going to send it to you. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us here. So by tomorrow, as we are coming in, I want to be seeing what we've done. Actually, I'm not going to be sharing us because I don't really know much of us. We are over 200, and then we don't know who is serious, we don't know who is not. So you are going to be working on your own. But there is actually a training session that is coming up next week, in which we are going to be sharing ourselves and working on two different projects entirely. All right, so that is all for